Hi, good morning. Welcome to Almas Market Morning. I'm Jairam here. It was been a double whammy for the markets in the last few days. Uh, Initially, we had the scare from the new COVID variant, and indications that it is not effectively curable by the current vaccines. That was already keeping the market under pressure. Then Jerome Powell made a U-turn on his transitory description of inflation. After months of describing it as temporary, uh, opening of economy after pandemic. On Tuesday, he said the word transitory is no longer the most accurate term for describing the current high inflation. I think it's probably a good time to retire that word and try to explain more clearly what we mean. So, also he said that in the coming FOMC meeting, they will discuss about hastening the pace of taper. Obviously, the stocks tanked, and particularly two-year yields rose, although 10-year yields were not that much reacting. Of course, on the economic data, Conference Board Consumer Confidence Index also fell. Housing prices showed some moderation. Latest Chicago PMI fell to 61.8 from 68.4 from October, although it is still in the expansion mode. Eurozone inflation rate also rose to record high in November, with most of the impact coming from higher energy prices, prompting further questions about what the ECB will do next with its monetary policy. In my view, it's unlikely that President Lagarde will change the tune, particularly with challenges coming from the new COVID variant. Although it is likely that they could cut down on asset purchases in the coming months. Germany's unemployment rate fell as well, supported by a 34,000 decline in the unemployment, following a 39,000 fall in October. Canadian economy rebounded strongly in third quarter, GDP rising 5.4%, beating analyst expectation of 3% rise. So third quarter rebound was driven by large household spending space. Again, the new COVID reportedly having reached even Canada. One will have to wait and see whether they impose restrictions and whether it will have an impact on growth. In fact, the day had started with Chinese manufacturing PMI also coming above expectations. Overall, the dollar had a big swing yesterday. Apart from the events surrounding it, the month-end factor also played its part. There was a lot of short covering in Euro and GBP after their big sell-off in last few weeks, and then month-end demand for dollars, which usually is seen, brought them down sharply after the Powell's statement. Powell's statement was anyway kind of a surprise to the market. People were not expecting it because the discussion was more on a pandemic response by the Fed. India, of course, we had macro data. GDP for quarter two came at 8.4%, mostly in line with expectations, but internals show good solid growth. Nominal GDP was at 17.5%. Good thing was both agriculture and manufacturing contributed healthily to growth with the 4.5% and 5.4% increase, reflecting higher domestic and export demand. Absolute GDP at 35.73 lakh crores has exceeded pre-pandemic level by 0.33%. Added to GDP, good news was a fiscal deficit, which is now for 5 months recorded 36.3% of full year budget, possibly will contain the overall annual deficit at 6.8% that is projected. Both GST and direct tax collections have been significantly higher this year. I think the healthy fiscal position gives headroom for government to spend more the latter part of the year. That will also support growth. So the rupee with month end over, we can see slight easing of the pressure on the rupee. With good buying also, 75.20 wasn't broken. So I expect it to test again 74.80 today and move in the range of 74.70 to 75.15 again today. Also talk of good number of IPOs this month also. Some of them still pending announcement, but possible. Some report says even 22,000 crores of IPOs maybe in the offing this month. So we'll see whether RBI absorbs those flows if they come at higher levels or they allow it to go down towards the bottom of the range. Thank you and have a good day.
Thanks, JK. 10-year Indian G-Sec closed at 633, and basically market were looking for some surprises from GDP growth, but those were much on expected line of 8.4%. So now G-Sec yield looks like would stay in the range of 631, 636 for this today and for the week, but we'll start tracking long-term yield in US and crude oil price movement. Surprisingly, Fed Chairman Powell struck a hawkish tone in yesterday's testimony in Senate, leaving out word transitory and emphasized that tapering should be completed at a faster pace. He had actually looked like kept the worries of Omicron totally behind him. This led into a short-term yield moving higher and USD 2-year yields moving higher by 15 basis to 0.59% from the low itself seen yesterday, which was 0.44. 0.44 2-year bond yield came after a Moderna kind of the organization pharma company Moderna, which has made a comment that probably Omicron won't be able to handle or would not be controlled by the vaccination which are already in usage. So there was a good amount of a dip happened on bond yield because of that. Today morning, Asian currencies are stronger despite of a hawkish commentary by Powell, which can be indicated and can be interpreted by USD CNH trading at 6.364050 and Korean won again below 1180. So that's indicating that as of now, high yielders are basically not getting much impacted by dollar strength. Crude oil prices are actually seeing a good seesaw movement. Yesterday, Brent dipped below 70. It went down till 68. Now again, it's up above 70 and it's dealing at 71. The kind of a crude oil price movement happened and the market anticipating that there would be a negative demand of 4 to 5 million barrel per day in coming months. And this will probably prompt OPEC Plus that they will not be increasing supply definitely, but whether they would like to cut the output. Good times ahead. I think OPEC Plus meeting is there in this week and they would be coming out with some announcements. That's all from me. Thank you. Have a nice day.